because a lot of times, as fans, we watch the finished product, but we don't realize all of the things that it takes to make
It's a
this 30-minute episode.
it's a factory. What people don't understand about the entertainment business, it is a blue collar experience. It is like working on an assembly line in Michigan. There is no glamour in my industry, even though we kind of promote that false narrative of glamour. The average member of the screen, now let me put on my union representation hat. The average member of the Screen Actors Guild is unemployed 98% of the time.
Wow.
So every single actor within 99% of the union have other jobs. They cannot rely on acting as their sole avenue for income. A fraction of 1% make enough to, you know, live a glamorous life. Only 18% of our membership qualify for health insurance. And to qualify for health insurance covered by the Screen Actors Guild, you have to earn in your earnings period $26,000 a year, and only 18% of our union does that.
Wow. Wow.
That's why this job action, that's why our strike is beyond important. And I know people are very frustrated, and I know that people want us to get back to work. But if we don't achieve a semblance of what we need, there will be no official actor. We'll all be hobbyists. I've worked long enough, 40 years, where I have a pension. When I retire, I will have a pension. But an overwhelming majority of members will never see a pension and will never qualify for healthcare.
Wow, wow, that's very, very important. I appreciate you sharing that. Is it anything that the fans can do as a sign of support, or do we just have to, stand and?
I think just be patient. You know, the as in any industry, when the employee can have a middle class living and raise a family in the community in which they want to raise, and maybe have hopes of sending some of their kids to college, and maybe have hopes of having a new car every 10 years, and maybe have hopes to be able to afford their mortgage or rent. When you have a middle class that is sustainable and has disposable income, you have a better country. And when you have a middle class that salary is sustainable and they are allowed to have disposable income, you have better projects. Like you have a better car. You'll have a better sitcom, you'll have a better movie, you'll have a better video game. It all is the same thing because we are a factory. Our byproduct is entertainment. It may not be widgets, but our byproduct is entertainment, but we are truly blue collar.
Yeah, yes, indeed. I mean, because these films and these TV shows, this is what we was raised on. This is a part of our culture, so it's very significant. It's very important. Now, let me see. You had spoke about producing. Like, when did you get behind the camera? Was that something you always was doing, or you kind of got into it later?
It's something I always wanted to do. The first project I produced was actually an equity waiver play, and that was back in 1998. And so I saw that I had a liking of being a problem solver, a fixer, an organ. I love working within a team unit. So I knew that, unfortunately, because of the amount of ageism and sexism in our business, and racism in our business, my window of opportunity is getting smaller and smaller to be in front of the camera. So I knew I had to pivot and transition into more of a behind the camera production aspect. And I actually really enjoy it. So like I said, I'm producing a film right now. I produced a series of public service announcements on behalf of traffic and pedestrian safety for the LAPD. I co-produced. If you go to I co-funded a nonprofit called the Mankind Initiative, And if you go to our website, I produced an 8-part series called Tears, the event against racism and stereotyping. And what we did was we focused on the relationship of the African American community and law enforcement. And it was all about racism and institutionalized racism and discrimination. So it's an 8-part series. Very, very proud of it, and I executive produced that project.
Wow, I'm gonna have to check that out. That sounds deep. I'm gonna have to definitely check that out. Now, have you? I don't know if maybe if you've done it already, or if you thought about it, like maybe doing a book or documentaries or any other type of. Because you've
Well,
been working with so many people and you got a lot of knowledge and experience. You know.
it's funny. I'm in very early stages of producing a scripted biography of the first African American police officer on the West Coast in
Wow.
1889.
Wow.
He was raised enslaved, and when slavery ended, he migrated west and became the first African American police officer. So
Wow.
that is, we're in very early stages, and that's gonna be a big project. We're very excited about that because it's all true, and it's all very sad, but it's all true. And, um, I just try to my main goal is there's enough foolishness in the world, I don't need to be a part of that. My main goal is to try to create projects that entertain, but also educate. I think that, there's just too much going on, and reality is much more interesting than fantasy.
Yes, indeed. I mean, I appreciate you because there's so many stories that haven't been told. And even if we may see something like, okay, this was the first, black police officer on the West Coast, we really don't have no idea what this person went through to get there.
No one even knew he existed until, no one in the modern era knew he existed until, an archivist stumbled upon it. The archivist was actually looking for something else, and then this name popped up, and he went, "What?" And then he and others did a ton of research, and what is fascinating is a lot of, this officer's experience was documented and memorialized in newspaper articles.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
it's an uncovered gem, and I've got it. So
Right. I look forward to it. You've been putting in work, like you say, for 40 years. That's phenomenal. It's very inspiring. We at the 25-minute mark, so I wanted to ask you maybe one more question about one more project. Now you was in the Five Heartbeats.
yes!
Can you talk about it a little bit?
The 5 heartbeats, it's really interesting. I don't remember a lot of it. I mean, I remember the big music acts, and I remember working with, some of the actors, but my role was really slashed, cut, and so maybe out of my broken ego, I don't remember a lot of it, and I've only seen it I saw it at the screening, but I've not seen it since. So, I apologize for not being able to share. I know it was exceedingly successful and very entertaining, but I think my ego got in the way. So maybe in a few years, I'll 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 know more about it, but I don't really remember much of it.
Okay, okay, I understand that because I mean, you work with so many icons. You've been doing this for 40 years, like you said. Your role might have been small, but that's a classic. That's a hood
It
classic for
is, yeah.
sure. Just to even be in it for a second, we dream of something like that, but it's regular, life for you.
Well, I can definitely say that I was and continue to be blessed with the, positive memories and reactions of every Robert Townsend project I've been a part of.
Yeah, definitely. Big shout out to Robert Townsend, man.
He was
Phenomenal.
he maybe in the near future, he and I will collaborate once again. But if I don't, I'm very satisfied because it was a lot of fun.
Indeed, indeed. So I want to thank you one more time for coming on the platform.
And
This is truly
congratulations
an
to
honor.
you. Good for you. You've had wonderful interviews, and I feel honored to be included in your category, your catalog of interviewees. So I'm so glad you reached out. This has been a pleasure. I really, and congratulations to you. I know how hard it is, how much work it takes. So
Yeah.
people think, poof, there it is. There it is. It takes a lot of labor. So I appreciate you.
Yes, indeed. And shout out to Chris for helping me
Yeah,
put it together.
right? He's a
Yeah,
good
yeah.
manager.
Right, right. I want to thank the viewers for tuning in. So yeah, just keep up the great work. I definitely look forward to the many projects that you have to come. I want to
Thank
thank everybody for tuning in. It's been a phenomenal episode. Until next time, family.
Thank you very
Peace.
much. God bless you.
All right, take care, Queen.
Bye-bye.